Hi all, and welcome to a brief podcast on posters, some tips for poster presentations. So the roadmap for this podcast will be as follows. We'll talk a little bit about developing content. This is the easy part for you, organizing the poster, designing the poster, and finally reviewing it. Okay, so those are the steps we're going to follow in this podcast. First, in terms of content development. These are the areas that should appear in posters. There may be some variation, but for the most part, you need your title, you need your collaborators, and Cal Poly. There's a Cal Poly logo URL on PolyLearn now for you to click on. There's various Cal Poly logos for you to choose from. You need your research questions, of course, and methods and materials. What did you do to address your research questions? What measures did you use? What samples did you use? Were there any manipulations, comparisons, correlations, significant differences, functional relations, for example, of interest? Possibly strengths and limitations of your methodology. You need your results. What were the outcomes of the research? You can express these results quantitatively or qualitatively. So, discussion and conclusion. What were the broader implications of your research and or findings? Acknowledgments. You're going to acknowledge Drs. Crutchfield and Wood someplace on your on your poster. You should, for their help. Contact information. That's not on this slide, but you should include contact information, your name, your email address, in case people want more information. And visual aids, I put those last. They might come under methods, results section. Using figures and images to communicate information is really highly recommended. Not only will the visual aids make your poster more interesting to look at, but they will allow you to effectively tell your story without the use of lengthy text. So that's it on developing content. I think that's pretty self-evident for you. In terms of organizing, the space on a poster is too limited to present your entire research project. Extracting important ideas and organizing information efficiently is essential to the poster design process. So you need to craft a takeaway message. Poster is most effective when its focus is one core idea. Before you begin making your poster, you should write, maybe this is your abstract. Write 100 words or less summarizing the purpose and findings of your research. Your poster should visually communicate this takeaway message. That takeaway message needs to be summarized or supported with key information. So what is a takeaway message for your project? Is it a creative research method, a finding, a jumping off point for future research? Your most important ideas deserve the spotlight. So don't waste space on minor details. Make your poster easy to read. Avoid wordiness, unnecessary jargon, and abbreviations not commonly known. Keep text fewer than 10 lines long. List information with bullet points instead of using full paragraphs. Make lists of central ideas and grouped concepts. And emphasize keywords with boldface or italic type, but avoid underlining. Create a logical visual flow. People tend to look left to right and top to bottom to process information. You can help the visual flow of your poster with headings that direct the viewer where to look next. Make sure the takeaway message is not a small note in the margin. The bigger and more central something is, the more your viewers will notice it. Okay. Here's an example of a poster that has a visual flow to it. What about design? Now we're talking about page setup, and you have a PowerPoint template, so that should not be a particular issue. Graphics, though, using visual aids such as images, charts, figures, timelines, and diagrams is a great way to make your poster less text-heavy and more visually appealing. Make sure your graphics are simple, consistent in scale, properly labeled, and legible from at least 3 feet away. You can also use photos, perhaps. You might use an interesting photo if you have the back of your child's head or permission to use your child in the poster. Text format. Do not use more than 2 fonts I would recommend on your poster. The minimum text size for a poster is 16 point. Headings should be between 30 and 60, generally speaking, and the poster title should be around or over 72 point. These sizes can vary a little bit based on the physical dimensions of the poster itself, but these are some rules of thumb to follow. Choose fonts that are attractive and easy to read. Some good ones are Helvetica, Times New Roman, Trebuchet, and Century Gothic. Sans serif fonts, for example, Helvetica, usually work a little better than serif fonts like Cambria. And avoid fonts that are cliched, too distinctive, or unprofessional. Comic Sans and Papyrus are example of those. So again, use bold or italicized type sparingly to emphasize certain text, and do not underline or use capital letters for emphasis. In terms of colors and white space, generally speaking, use a light color for backgrounds and a dark color for text. Avoid distracting viewers with patterns of complex images in the background. And when using multiple colors to add emphasis, be consistent and keep the color palette limited. Viewers tend to look for a pattern in a series of colors rather than absorb the information. Avoid bright or clashing colors that will exhaust the viewer's eyes. And in terms of white space, divide the sections of your poster logically by using empty white space. If there is too much information to fit in white space, either take out some information or summarize the information more concisely. White space is your friend in terms of constructing your poster. Finally, in terms of reviewing your poster, see the PolyLearn file, Reviewing My Poster. There's a checklist there. You can go through it with a friend and see if you have done any don'ts in terms of creating a poster. And again, I will be available to help you with your posters in class on Monday night, week 4, if you choose to come. Thanks so much for listening.